everybody, welcome to Always Alyssa. As you can see, I am sitting at my desk, and that means another art tutorial, of course. But this one is a little different. It's not only art, it's actually DIY more. And we're going to be making DIY bookmarks in different shapes and sizes, a bunch of different colors and designs. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to give you guys a few examples of what I'm going to be painting on these bookmarks. So this is one that I made previously to this. This one's more tall and skinny, but some of the ones we're going to be making are a little bit thicker and shorter, but they all have super pretty designs. We're going to be doing watermelon, some sunset type ones, or you can do geometric designs, which always turn out pretty cool. Or you can do one of my favorites, sunflower, but I made two of them, so you can have, one for your best friend maybe, one for you, or you can just keep them both, either way, but I think it's cool to make two, especially since they're like matching. And then these are my all-time favorites. I gotta put them together. So there's oranges and lemons on this one, and they all three go together in a pair. So cool, right? Pear like fruit, oranges. Didn't mean to make that fun, but yes. Anyways, I think this is gonna be super fun. All you're gonna need is paintbrushes, watercolor paper, scissors, tape, and watercolor. I think that's it. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so our first step, we're going to section out the paper using a ruler and a pencil just to make the different bookmarks, because obviously we're not going to have one big bookmark. So let's get started. I think I'll probably cut us through the middle and then do the bookmarks going this way, or vice versa. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so first you're going to find a thickness that you like. I think I'm going to go with about an inch thick. Let's see here. Yeah, about an inch wide at the bottom, and then trace lightly. I'm going to do that going all the way down. If you want to make them thinner, that's okay. I have a couple examples up here. With this one is pretty thin, or if you like thick bookmarks, you can do that as well. Pretty much any size will work for these. You can make them short or tall, either way, because it's just a bookmark. In fact, you can even make them square and they'll still look pretty cool. Okay, they're pretty even. Some are a little bit bigger, but that's okay. Now I'm going to do a line down the middle. And make sure you do these lines super light in case you want to fix them. Okay, this looks pretty good. Now I'm going to cut them up into a bunch of little bookmarks. Okay, so I have a bunch of brushes here. I'm probably going to only end up using the thinner ones, so I'm just going to take those out. Watercolor is super fun because you can use thin brushes and you can make pretty cool designs. Okay, perfect. So the first one I'm going to teach you guys how to do is a little watermelon one. Here's the example one. It's a little messy, so don't mind that. It was one of my first ever bookmarks. So yes, we're going to make a watermelon one. You can make big watermelons, small watermelons, whatever you want. And yeah, you can be pretty creative with this. I'm going to start off with this one. I'm going to teach you guys how to use the watercolors a little bit in case you have never used them before. So you just want to get a little bit of water, but you don't want it to be dripping, so just get it on the side like that. And you're going to choose your color. Since we're doing watermelon, I'm going to start off with kind of a reddish pink color, kind of magenta. You can do a brighter red if you want, but I'm going to be using this one. So just a little bit of water, mix it up, and then paint your watermelon shape. Usually for watermelons, I'll just do a half circle and then a line. Try to make it as even as you can, and then just fill it in. Simple, right? You can put another layer if you want. And I'm just going to do a bunch of these and then let them dry, which they won't take long to dry at all, maybe like 30 seconds because we're doing such thin layers. And then we'll do the green around it. I might do some of these slices too, just different shapes. And remember, the trick for watercolor is every time you get water, don't get too much water or else it'll be super sloppy. Just a little bit of water and then lots of paint, and that's the perfect combo. Some of these are already dry, so that's good. And I'm just going to do a few more little shapes. And you can make them kind of like going off to the edge. See how this one's not complete? And neither is this one, so you can do that and it looks a little bit more abstract. Like right here, I'm just going to do half of a watermelon. Okay, I finished all of my watermelon shapes, so I'm going to clean off my brush and dry it a little bit. These are mainly dry, and now I'm going to do the green along the edges. I'm going to use a mixture of greens. I'm going to use a lighter green and a darker green. So I'm going to be using this light green right here, kind of a lime green color. And I'm going to get just a little bit of an emerald green. Mix it. That'll create a super pretty green color. And remember, not too much water on your brush. And you can always add in some colors later too. And I'm going to make a line around the edge of the red watermelon. On these ones it'll be smaller because this is a half slice, this is like a smaller slice of the watermelon. And you're going to leave a little bit of room, I'll give you an example, for the white right here because watermelon have a little bit of a white spot on them too, before the green crust, outer shell part, whatever you want to call it. You're going to make it as thin as possible because if it's too thick it might look a little strange. And if it's super thin, that's okay, you can always make it thicker. But if it's too thick, then you can't make it thinner. And go nice and slow if you need to. Just take your time. And it's best if you try to complete the green in one stroke. But if you can't, that's okay. And it's okay if it doesn't look super realistic because we're just going for a cute watermelon design. Okay, I'm done with my green. And now I'm going to make a couple little seeds around here. Just with black. And for black, it's also very important you don't get too much water, or else it'll get messy, and you don't want that, especially for this color, because it's dark and it could mess up your watermelons. You can make them however big or small you want. Okay, I'm going to set this one to the side to dry, and we're going to start working on our next one. The next one I'm going to do is going to have some black trees at the bottom, and it's going to be faded up in either blue, purple, or pink, kind of like a pretty sunset, with some stars at the top for nighttime. So, I think I'm going to start off with kind of a lightish blue color. I got this one super watery, so I'm just going to put it all the way through. I'm going to fold this in half just so it doesn't bleed through. Okay, so I have my first layer done, and now I'm just going to do some darker blues and purples. I'm going to get hardly any water, and then lots of paint, and then just put it on. I'm going to do dark blue. Okay, once you're satisfied with how it looks, we're just going to let it dry. And I'm going to start working on the next one, because I'm going to do one similar to this, but it's going to be more of like a sunset that has pink tones in it. Something else you can use in this project besides watercolors are watercolor pencils, which I do have a few here. I've only used them once. I don't have much experience with them, but they are fun to use. Basically, you just color on your design, whatever you want it to be, and then you put a little bit of water on it, and it looks like watercolor. So yeah, I might be using those as well. The next one we're going to do, one that looks similar to this. Oranges, lemons, and leaves. And I'm going to be using a thin brush for this one as well. Okay, first for the orange shape, I'm just going to be using normal orange color. I'm going to make a half circle for the orange. Color it in. It's okay if your circles aren't perfect because you can always touch them up afterwards. Okay, I just made a mistake and I'm going to point it out to you guys to make sure you guys don't make the same one. So, on this one I put a little bit too much water, and you can kind of see it looks more wavy. I don't know if you can tell, but it definitely doesn't look as good as this one. This one looks a lot more smooth because I had more paint compared to water. So make sure you don't make the same mistake as I just did. And it can always be easy to get too much water, and that's pretty much the hardest thing about watercolor. Other than that, it's not too tricky. And it's a lot easier to get a nicer, more smooth design if you have more paint compared to water. Okay, now I'm going to do a few lemons in here. And you know what? I just got a really good idea. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I'm going to do it now. So, I have a couple of these, right? I'm going to do some on either side, but the designs are going to go into each other. Like, I'll do the rest of the orange, like that kind of thing. I think that would look pretty cool. So I'm going to do that. You guys can do that too with the other ones if you want. Like for the watermelon one we just did, you guys can do that too. Because it looks pretty cool in the end. Okay, now I'm going to add in some lemons. I'm just putting a few little dots of light brown on these oranges to give them a little bit more texture. And it's not going to be super realistic, but it'll look pretty cute at the end, I think. Because super realistic would take too long, and these are just bookmarks, so even if it's kind of cartoony, it'll still look pretty good in the end. So you can do it whatever style you want. Okay, I'm going to wait for these to dry, and then I'm going to add some white highlights in. I think it looks pretty good. I'm satisfied. So I'm going to set them to the side. Okay, now I'm going to work on the sunset one. This one's going to be super pretty. I'm going to start out with yellow on the bottom. As you go towards the top, you're going to go darker and darker colors until you get to a dark magenta color. Okay, this one's done for now. I'm going to put it to the side to dry, and I'm going to check on my oranges. And it looks like they're dry, so I'm going to be adding some white highlights to the oranges and the lemons. I'm going to be using gel pens for this, white gel pens. And you're going to put your highlights on the side that's opposite of the shadows. So cute! I like these ones. Okay, I think these are done for now, unless I decide to add something else later, so I'm going to put them over here. And now I'm going to add the trees to this one, at the bottom. I'm going to be using my thinnest brush for this, and they're going to be black trees. Since it's nighttime and you won't be able to see any green on them anyways. I made a little mistake here, but that's okay, I can work with that. Okay, I'm finished with the little trees. These trees can be a little tricky to do, so you don't have to do them if you don't want to. You can only do the stars if you want. You can also use a thin black pen to do the trees. Now I'm going to use a little bit lighter color yellow to do the back petal. Okay, now I'm going to do a leaf on each side of the sunflower. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of a darker color to this sunflower, and I think it'll be done. Okay, so this sunflower one is dry now. I think it's looking pretty good. I called it just one, but I realized there's two, which I think is pretty cool. I think they look pretty good together, or if they were in like separate books or whatever, but I like them. So I'm going to set these aside for now, and I'm going to go back to this one from earlier and add in what I need to. I'm going to be using my thinnest brush. I'm going to get a little bit of black. And I think I'm going to do some palm trees on this one to make it a little different than the other one, because the other one had pine trees. This one can kind of be like a beach scene maybe. Okay, I think this one's done for now, so I'm going to set it to the side to dry. And now I'm going to fix the black on this and maybe add a couple of stars on the top. I'm going to be using my white gel pen. Okay, this next one I'm going to make is kind of going to be a little bit different design than the rest. It's going to be more geometric shapes. We're going to do some triangles and stuff like that and some cool colors. So let's get started. I think I'm first going to start off with a teal color. This one's super pretty. I like this one. And on this specific bookmark, you can use whatever colors you want. Alright, our bookmarks are all done, so the final step for protecting them from getting anything on them and making them more durable is to tape them. I mean, what if you're crying because something terrible just happened in your book and you get tears on your bookmark? You don't want to ruin it, so that's why we're going to tape it, just to make sure they stay safe. Just make sure to tape both sides of the bookmark. Okay, perfect. Now all I have to do is cut off the extra on this one. Perfect. Our second one is done. It's looking good. Work on the sunflower one. Another one done. So perfect. I love it. Okay, well that was a lot of fun. I think all of the bookmarks turned out great. I can't wait to use them in my books because, you know, I read a lot. Hopefully you guys do too, because then you can also use these bookmarks, or you can give them away to your friend, or whatever you want. You can even use them as gifts, like anything. They're very useful, and I think they look super cute. Anyways, make sure you leave me a comment and tell me which one was your favorite. I like them all, so leave a comment down below, and make sure you give a like for watercolor and bookmarks. See you guys later. Bye!